In today's video, I'm going to be covering Acronis True Image 2017. The last time I did a video regarding the Acronis software was back when they had their version 2015. I did upgrade to 2016, but between 2015 and 2016 there wasn't many changes, so that's the reason for not doing the video for 2016. For 2017 there is a lot of new features which I'm going to cover in this video. I'm also going to show you how to make the best backup using the best options, and also all the other steps which you need to know. Okay, so for anybody who doesn't know what Acronis is used to back up your operating system regularly if you set it once a week or daily or monthly. And basically that makes an image of your system. So if, for example, you had a problem on your computer and you needed to recover your system back to an earlier date, or if you turned on your PC in the morning and it didn't load onto Windows or anything like that, you can basically use Acronis to recover your system back to an earlier date, so that way your system will be back on in minutes. I have got a video on my channel regarding a restore which you can watch if you want to. So now I will continue to show you the features you get with 2017, and there is quite a lot. I will show you what Acronis puts in at the start menu, and then I'll go into the main program itself. Okay, so in the start menu you've got two things here. You've got the Acronis True Image, which is the main program which is on the desktop, and then you've got a folder called Acronis. Now if you click on that you get quite a lot of options in here, and I'll explain what each one does. The Acronis Drive Cleaner will completely blank your hard drive. So if you've got a hard drive in your system which you want to completely blank and then reformat and repartition and so on, instead of using the Windows disk management, you can use the Acronis Drive Cleaner instead. The Acronis Secure Zone, that is used to secure any files or data on your system with encryption safety, because the new Acronis version has got a 256-bit encryption in it. So you know it has got a lot of secure things in the 2017 version. The Acronis Startup Recovery Manager, now I've never used that, so I'm not too sure exactly what it does, but to my knowledge the startup recovery is if you get a problem starting up Windows, or something hasn't quite loaded properly and it keeps on happening, you could go into here to fix it. The Acronis System Report, if you run this will run a full scan on your computer and it will tell you if there's any problems with your hardware, and it will also tell you how to fix it and what components, hardware and drivers you've got in your system. The add new disk option, that's for adding a new hard drive in your system. So if it hasn't got a partition or a drive letter and it hasn't been formatted yet, instead of using the Windows disk management, you can basically use the Acronis add new disk option. The Bootable Rescue Media Builder, this is quite an important one. This one is when you install Acronis, I would highly recommend straight away to make a disk or a USB pen drive with that content on, because the Rescue Media Builder is used to recover your system outside of Windows. So when you load that up, you scan to a file on your hard drive, or USB pen drive if you have stored an Acronis image on that, or a USB external drive, and then you recover your system from that. That is needed to boot off in order to restore your system. Inside that boot utility, you've also got functions to, as well as recovering your system, you've also got functions to back up your system, and also to blank the hard drives, and there's quite a few other tools you can use inside the boot utility. So it is quite good. But one thing to note, when a new version of Acronis comes out, like yearly, like 2016, 2017, 2018, so on, you need to make a new disk or USB pen drive when a new version of the software comes out, and you also need to make a new disk or USB pen when an update is done with Acronis. And I had an update about 2 or 3 days ago for Acronis, so I've had to make another disk because I use a disk to have the utilities on. Okay, the clone disk, if you want to use a different hard drive and you want this, what you're seeing now, on another hard drive, so it's on 2, you can basically use the clone disk option and it will clone what's on your main hard drive to another hard drive. Okay, this is another very important one, which you need to make a restore disk from, and when you're going through the prompts for this one, you need to select all of the options. So when you get to the list what says Acronis and Universal Restore, you need to select all them and burn them onto a disk or a USB pen drive as well. And I will explain what this is used for. This is used for if you have made a brand new computer and you want to recover your system, so you don't have to install everything manually to your new system. If you want to restore your system using an Acronis image from your old computer and put it on the new one, then that utility allows you to do that. But one thing to note, before you attempt to do that, you need to download all the drivers for your components, your new components, onto a USB pen drive from another computer. that's the first step you need to do. Okay. The second step, you have to use the original disk, the Bootable Media Rescue Builder, and you need to restore your system using your old Acronis image with the Rescue Media software, which you already do if you've used it before. And that's what is done in my tutorial video of recovering my system on my YouTube channel. Once that is completed, your computer will then not boot into Windows. It will fail. The recovery would have gone through successfully, but because the drivers are different for your new hardware, it won't boot onto Windows. So once the recovery has been done with that one, you reboot your machine and then you boot off that disk or USB. Okay. At that point, you need to make sure that your USB pen drive with the drivers on for your new hardware is inserted to your PC. Then carefully go through the prompts. You will then get to a screen where it says please specify the drivers, and that's when you click on browse and you browse to the files for your new hardware on the USB pen drive. Once you've browsed to them files, you can then click on next in that utility, and the drivers will copy over to your Windows directory system. And then once that is completed and you've rebooted your machine will then boot into Windows. But that is the procedure you need to do. And if there is a problem or you're a bit curious about doing that way, Acronis are available to speak to 24/7 by their web chat system, and they can even talk you through it. Okay, because I haven't used it myself as of yet, but when I do build a new system, I will be using that in the future. So that's how you have to use it. Okay, so now I'll carry on with the other applications. The system cleanup one, I will cover that one in a minute because that one's on the desktop. The try and decide one, that is where you can try things out with Acronis before actually doing a main restore or a main backup or something like that. And then finally you got the user guide, which is an online user guide. Okay, so I'll go back to the desktop now and go into the system cleanup. Okay, now this is another great piece of software for cleaning up your system. Basically with this, when you come into here, it can clear all this here: recycle bin, temporary files, recently used documents, Windows run list, open and saved files history, user credentials, and hard drive free space. Now when I come into here and I do two cleans, you see, I always untip these two first, the hard drive free space and the user credentials, because you don't really want to clear that, because that's your Microsoft account you've used to log into Windows, and if you clear them you'll have to re-enter them all again. But the rest of them are completely fine, so I always do from the recycle bin down to the open saved files history. When you click on clean, you might get a message what says so and so file is in use. Just click on ignore, because some files are used by the system so they won't delete. So this this utility will not cause any harm to your computer whatsoever. Once that's finished, you can come back into here and do the wipe disk free space. Okay, now what this is, and it does take a while to perform this, when you delete a file on your computer, it doesn't fully delete it. It remains in the system under a different file name. So by running this utility, it will completely wipe the deleted files off your system. Okay, so it is a great utility to use, and as you can see there, it does tell you exactly what it's going to do. Okay, so now I'll cancel that and I'll go into the main Acronis utility. One thing with the two utilities I haven't mentioned is when you do open them, it will ask you, do you want to allow this program to make changes to your computer? You'll get it every time. Just click on yes. Okay, so now we're in the main interface of the new Acronis. As you can see, it looks very similar to all the old versions, but within the tabs on the left hand side, that's where all the new features are hidden away. So I'll go through each one now and tell you some information about them before showing you the best backup methods. So under settings, you've got the interface language, so I've got it set to English, and that's what it's set to as default. The application startup, this box here will automatically check through updates every time the program opens, so I would recommend leaving that ticked unless you've got a really bad internet connection. This one here, mobile backup location, yes, you can now back up your mobile with the newer Cronus software, and that's the default directory where it stores it, and you can change that. The customer experience program, I'm always in that, so I always leave that ticked, and it's ticked at default. And then you can also change your email notification settings there. Okay, now I'll go to the account tab. In here you can obviously see your serial number in there if you need to. It will tell you what version of Acronis you're using and the build number, and obviously here it says my product is up to date and successfully activated. Now for the Acronis Cloud storage, if you've got a subscription for Acronis Cloud, because it is a paid service, you can back up any of your system backups to the Acronis Cloud. I don't tend to use that function because I have got a USB drive plugged into my PC, so I make a reserve copy of my backup to that, and the main backup goes into a internal hard drive. I'll go to the next dashboard one. This one is a really good new feature. This option allows you to access your computers remotely to do a backup. So for example, if you're at work and you're on your computer at work and you think, right, I want to do an Acronis backup at home, basically you can log into the online dashboard and you can schedule your system remotely to do an Acronis backup. So that's a really good feature to have, and you can also manage all your backups, your computers and your mobile devices as well. The social network backup, that's to back up like your Facebook account and your photos and your videos. I'm not sure if you can use this to back up that information to your PC, because I haven't tried it and I've got really no need to back up my social network accounts. But obviously if you do want to back up your social network accounts, you can come into here and see what it gives you. In this one, the mobile device backup, you can back up your iOS system software for your phone, your contacts, your phone history, your messages, your apps and so on for your phone. I don't tend to use the Acronis mobile backup because I tend to use the Samsung Smart Switch software to back up my phone regularly. Okay, I'll now go on to Tools option. This one again, like I mentioned before, it's to clone your hard disk. So it will help you clone your operating system, applications and data to a new hard drive, which is a nice feature to have in Acronis. I've never had to use it though. All I use Acronis for really is to back up my system in case of any problems which occur sometimes with Windows. Okay, the Rescue Media Builder, that's what I talked about before, to make a recovery disk, so that's something you definitely need to do straight away. Another new feature I haven't mentioned yet in Acronis, you've got that little blue circle there now, and if you hover over that, that will tell you what each thing does, so that's another new feature by Acronis. You've got Acronis Universal Restore, so that's used again like I've mentioned before for new computers only, and there you go, it gives you the information there. The next one, the Parentals Access, you can access your computer remotely from a mobile device, because with the new Acronis 2017 software, you've got the option to download a mobile phone app from the Google Play Store, but I'm not sure if it's available on the Apple Store. But basically by using that, you can obviously tell your computer back up from your phone. So that's another option, as well as the online dashboard thing I spoke about previously. You've got the try and decide, so obviously you can perform any unsafe operation in try mode and then decide if you want to apply the changes. So that's another big feature by Acronis. You got the system cleanup, which obviously I've been in already and told you about. You've got the Acronis Secure Zone, so again you can protect your partition and backups on your hard disk and add extra encryption to your content. You've got the Acronis Drive Cleaner, so obviously by using this utility it will blank and destroy all the data on the hard drives, so you can use that feature instead of using the Windows Disk Management. Then you've got the third-party tools. Now when you click on this one, it does open a web browser, and I will show you exactly what it displays. Okay, and I will just scroll down slowly so you can just see the information it gives. I mean, personally, I haven't had to download any other tools anyway for Acronis, but I know some users do like to benefit from the maximum features. Under the utility as well, if when you open the media builder, select the top one there, Acronis Bootable Media Rescue. Don't choose the WinPE. Okay, so that's something I didn't mention to you. Okay, so I'll close this site down now. Now if you go into all tools as well, this will show you all the tools you get with Acronis, and obviously all of them are on the start menu, which I showed you before. Okay, now I'll go on to the sync option. Now this is if you've got the Acronis Cloud. Obviously you can sync your data regularly with the Acronis Cloud if you've got cloud storage with Acronis, but I haven't. The archive option, you can free up hard drive space from moving large files and old files from your PC to an external drive or the Acronis Cloud. And as you can see here, if I won't run it because I don't need to archive anything, but I will show you what's in these 5 little circle things here. I'll just leave this on the screen for a moment so you can have a read of it. And this is the bit I was talking about earlier. The new Acronis has got a 256-bit encryption to secure your data. So obviously that's what that secure zone was for, which is just here. Okay. Okay, so that's the archive option. Okay, so I'll now go to the final part of this video, which will be setting up a Acronis backup. Okay, so on here, as you can see here, it's set to entire PC at the moment. Now, with this, if you've only got one hard drive in your PC, you can just leave it as entire PC and choose a destination. But if you've got multiple hard drives in your system, like I have, then you may not want to use the entire PC option. So if you click on change source, you will then get these options here. So you've got the entire PC, disks and partitions, and files and folders. Okay, so I always choose disks and partitions. Now if you use this method before you see your drives and start selecting your drives, always click on full partition list in this corner. Okay, now as you can see now, you can see all my drives and the information from them. By default, your C drive is selected. Okay, now before you do a backup, please make sure that both of these are ticked. Well, all 3 are ticked really, because if you don't have that one and you only have that one selected and you try recovering your system, it will not work without the system reserved. Okay, so once that is selected, you can go down and press on the OK button. Okay, so the next step is to choose a destination. So you select destination, and here you can put it onto the Acronis Cloud, an external hard drive, or you can browse to a folder of your choice. Okay, now I always do that, the browse option. So if you click on browse, you will see quite a lot of options now. You've got the option to back up to a NAS drive connection if you've got a NAS drive. You can upload your backup to the FTP connections. You can store your backup to OneDrive, Home Group, any network here, or your main PC, and I always back up to the PC itself directly. Okay, so you double click on that and you can see now all the drives available. So I always recommend using your largest drive, and in my case it's the L drive. So if you double click on that, and if a folder doesn't show, because that drive's currently blank at the moment because I had a few issues with it today, so I had to completely blank it and initialize the disk again. To make a new partition, a new folder, all you do is you click on the new folder option down here and you'll get this little box come up. Now you type in what you want to name the folder, so I always call it Windows Backup. Okay, and then press the OK button down here. Okay, so obviously that means then the backup is available to back up. Okay, and it will show you there the folder which is selected to do your backup. For some reason, again, it's not come up with the folder I selected, but that sometimes does happen. But a lot of the time when you click on new folder, you type in what you want to use and then you choose Windows Backup as the drive. So if you've got the folder there, it'll say like L drive / Windows Backup, and then once you click on the OK box and you come back to this screen, don't press on backup now. Click on options down here. Okay, now once you've done that, this is where you can schedule a daily, a weekly, a monthly, upon event, non-stop, or do not schedule backup. Okay, now I always do a weekly backup and I always choose it when I'm available, and I know that I'm available about 11:30. My computer's always on at 11:30 on a Thursday, so I set my backup to do it then. These options here, you can select this if you want to run the backup only when the computer is in idle mode. Here is wake up, sleeping hibernation of the computer, so it will wake up if the computer goes into hibernation. You can click this one to prevent the computer from going into sleep and hibernation, and then here this is a key feature, this one. If you've missed a backup, so it's gone past your backup time, and you've only just turned on your PC, I always say to have at least 2 minutes prior to loading up the system if you've missed the backup time, so that it gives your system Windows chance to load everything in. Okay, so that's always the best option to use there. Okay, now I'll go into backup scheme. Now with this bit here, I've been playing about with this for quite a long time, and I've found the best backup to use to back up the drive regularly once a week, as you saw me select on the other screen, and it also deletes the old backups and so on. So in here, on backup scheme, choose custom scheme. Okay, then on backup method, choose differential. This backup method as well also doesn't use a lot of hard drive space either, so this is another good option for this method to use, which I have been using now for over 2 years. Once you've confirmed that these two are selected, click on create a full version and change that to free. So it will say now create a full version after every 3 differential versions. Okay, so you want to set that to free. Then turn on the automatic cleaning. Okay, and select this one here, store no more than 10 recent version chains. When you've selected that, change that to 2. Okay, once you've done that, click on do not delete the first version of the backup, and then click on save as default. And them are the best options to use to back up your system regularly in case of any failures. Alright, the notifications one, I never play about with that, but if you do want to get notifications, you can select stuff in here. The exclusions, again, I don't play about with it, I'll leave it as it is. And this is the important next step, the advanced option. Now here you can do sector by sector from your hard drive, but I don't use that option. The next one is backup protection, so you can password your backup, and you can also choose an encryption method for your backup. You got the pre-post commands. You got backup splitting. I would recommend leaving it on automatic, but if you do want to change it, you've got all them options there. The next option is validation. Now I will highly recommend to select this because then when it makes a backup of your system, it will always validate it to make sure it's intact. Alright, and I always recommend to go into Acronis before doing a recovery if your system's working, and click on the little arrow and choose validate again. Even though you might have the green circle in the center on the home screen, before doing a recovery, I would always recommend using the arrow and choosing validate. Okay. This option, you can select this to make a reserved copy of your backups, and I always use that option every time. Okay. You've got the removable media settings, which I don't touch. In here as well, I did forget to note, when you choose create a reserved copy, it will ask you to choose a location, and like when I was choosing a location destination for the main backup to go to, you will also have to do that for the reserve one. Okay. Then you've got the error handling, and then the computer shutdown, and then lastly the performance. Okay, so before you click on OK and choose backup, I would recommend going through the settings just to confirm that you've done it correct. So I always go onto this one and make sure that I've got a backup reserve set. Obviously I'm not doing it now because I'm not backing up my system till later. Validation, always have that ticked, and then the backup splitting, always have that set to automatic. Then these two obviously you don't have to touch unless you want to. Schedule, recheck that, and then lastly check the backup scheme. Okay, then if everything looks the same as what I've got now, then you click on OK, and then you choose backup, and then that's it. Okay, and then obviously it will make regular backups, and when the backup is finished you'll see like a little green tick there. Alright, if you do set a reserve backup, you will see two on this list when the backup is finished. One of them, when you click it, will have a green tick. The other one, when you click it, will have like a blue circle, and it will say that one's been added manually, and you can remove that. So you just like click on the arrow, select delete, and choose remove, not delete completely, because otherwise that will remove the backup. Alright, and then obviously if your system's working and you do want to recover it if something's gone wrong, I would always, before doing that, always recommend coming in here, choosing the arrow and choosing validate, just so it validates the backup again even though it's already got a tick, before doing the recovery, because the last thing you want to do is perform a recovery and find out it fails at the end, because that's happened to me in the past. So it's always recommended by Acronis to come in here first if you can and click on validate. Okay, so that's it for that video. I hope this video has helped you out. If you like the video and the information I've gave you, please give it thumbs up to support my channel. If you've got any questions about Acronis, please put a comment below and I will get back to you as soon as possible. And please subscribe to my channel for more helpful videos. Alright, thank you all for watching and thank you for your time. Goodbye.